Peace be with you, yeah? Alhamdulillah, okay. Now listen, ikhwa. There is a way that we must compose ourselves here and now, and it's an organization. Everyone compose a line like the line of Salah. Understand that we are here to discuss. We defend ourselves if necessary, inshallah. But until then, do not be the provoker. Stay calm, and await instruction, inshallah. Alright? This matter is the matter of the mind and the heart.
This man, Tommy Robinson, which in my opinion represents the archetypal neo-fascist of today, 21st century, has come. The first time, I've been going to this park for quite some time, you know from my YouTube videos. I've been coming here frequent in the past for a long time. What I see today is something I've never seen in the very long time I've been going to the park. I see thuggery, hooliganism, and violence. That's what I see today. This is not free speech. Neo-fascists today have stolen the political agenda and have disguised free speech with neo-fascism. They are the archetypal sheep or the wolf in sheep's clothing. Britain has something to say today to those individuals.
Yes.
Britain today will make a statement about those individuals that we're not walking in the direction of Adolf. Yes. We're not walking in the direction of neo-fascist.
Franco.
Britain has come a long way. It's embraced multiculturalism and diversity. 50 years ago, someone my color, or 100 years ago, wouldn't be able to stand here and speak. Free speech means giving those who you... This is what it means. They talk about free speech. Free speech means giving those who you despise the most the opportunity to speak. Those individuals have been prescribing or have been recommending or have been telling us that in fact we should treat Muslims differently. What's universalist about that? What's tolerant about that? What is multicultural about that? What's democratic about that? These people are hypocrites to the core. So I say today, this is an advice I give to the people. Britain, look at the countries around you. Look at America, they've actually elected Donald J. Trump. Look at France. Look what its policies are like. Britain has a choice today. It can either steer in that same political direction and create rift and violence. Because you know, extremism begets extremism. Believe me, we're on the front line of this. Extremism begets extremism. We know we have issues in our community. We do know that. We're aware of these issues and we're working on them. Believe me, the greatest de-radicalizers are going to be those from within the community. And we as Muslims are going to stop with every might those individuals who are attempting to do things in a violent way. But we need the wider community to realize something. There are grievances. There are political, social and economic grievances that Muslims have. And when neo-fascism, ultra-right-wing ideologies come into the mix, it inflames and exacerbates those grievances. We have a choice to make today. Either Britain goes back to its principles, its post-enlightenment principles of democracy and pluralism, from John Locke to John Stuart Mill, or it decides to go in line with those neo-fascistic principles, or it decides to go in line with those neo-fascistic principles, by which and through which people from the early 1920s to 1945 have been able to marginalize and disturb communities like the Jews. They want us to believe there's a Muslim problem, just like Hitler wanted us to believe there was a Jewish problem. You can go along with that and see what happens. People don't think, people don't know the fact that actually Jewish extremism existed. There was the Irgun, that was a result of the political pressures. That Irgun was a political group. It was a political group, a Jewish group, which blew up hotels like the King David Hotel. They were a product, a byproduct of this reality. We say today, we represent a lot of Muslims here in Speaker's Corner, and we come here and we talk and we try and do our best. We say today, listen, it's not a contradiction. From our perspective as Muslims, we as Muslims believe that you have a right to practice whatever religion you want to. How do we believe that, and why do we believe that? The Quran says, La ikraha fi din, chapter 2, verse 256. There is no compulsion in religion. Lakum dinukum waliya din, chapter 109 of the Quran. You have your religion, and I will have mine. So if it's not incompatible with the Quran, and it's not incompatible with Western Enlightenment principles, then it can happen. There can be a mutual coexistence. But you know when it will not happen? And you know when it cannot happen? It cannot happen when these individuals decide to disturb the flow of harmony and coexistence. Today we say, listen, we're going to start a new movement today. What did you say? Yes, Tommy Robinson, thank you for coming. Thank you for coming, Tommy Robinson, because what you've done is you've allowed us to spread our message further and longer than what we've been able to do in the past. So today I say to you guys, we're going to start a new movement. What movement is that? Tell us what movement that is. Okay, no problem, I'll tell you the movement.
Yes.
It's a movement at the moment with no leader. At the moment with no leader. The group structure is called the Ummah, and we have a constitution as well. As the Muslims, we have a constitution. It's called the Quran. This is our new movement. As Muslims, we are going to stick together in this body of people. And we invite the larger community to this very body. Now, if you don't want to be part of the body, we say, look, lakum dinukum waliya din. We can still coexist. It happened in Spain, convivencia. It happened in Greece. It happened even in the Ottoman Empire. It happened with the Abbasids and the Umayyads. And it will happen and will continue to happen. Islam does not preach that if you are a Jew or a Christian, or a Hindu or an atheist, or whatever you may be, that we must be vile and intolerant, or that we must force and compel. It doesn't preach that. The Quranic verses are clear. So today I say to you, Tommy Robinson represents the scum, the archetypal scum of society. You know something like this. I know I've been speaking to the Luton boys. What did you say? No. I'm gonna make it personal. He's been mocking Islam and mocking the Muslims, and let's test his free speech. He's gonna watch this. Let's test his free speech. I've been speaking to the Luton boys because I wanted to know what fueled Tommy Robinson psychoanalytically. What fueled him to hate the Muslims so much? There must be some kind of, from a Freudian perspective, pent up suppression that he had. So I found the answer. I did my psychiatric work. You know what the answer was? I spoke to the Luton boys. He was from Luton. And the answer is this: he had a girlfriend. What are you saying, my friend? No, hold on. What are you saying? You're going personal now. Wait. He had a girlfriend. And that girlfriend, she cheated on him with a Muslim man. It's very well known. Wait a minute, what did you say there? You're going personal all of a sudden. I thought this was some kind of speech about politics and religion. No. We have to spice it up a little bit. So she cheated on him.
Tommy's not a terrorist.
Thank you. She cheated on him with a Muslim. And I have something to say on behalf of the Muslims and the wider British community about this and about his arguments. And it's the same thing his girlfriend said, probably, yeah? Wait a minute, don't go there, man. Don't go there, man. What are you going to say? No, it's the same thing. He can decide to come and debate me if he wants. He saw my challenge, he rejected it. And those who know. We say, just the same as his ex-girlfriend said, probably, we're not satisfied. We're not satisfied with your case. We're not satisfied with your argument. Now your finger that you're pointing at the Muslim community, which you'll need to fulfill your... No, I'm sorry, I have to go there. Freedom of speech. We can't make this speech complete unless we say a few jokes, guys, about this scum of the earth. So the finger that you're using to point at the Muslim community, you're pointing the finger at the Muslim community. Freedom of speech, this and that. The finger which you'll need for your conjugal rights to satisfy whoever it is you're going to be with. Because everything else has failed already. From experience. I say to you, before you cast that finger of blame, realize that there are fingers, crusty fingers, that are pointing back at you. In fact, those fingers are telling you that you're a neo-fascist, are telling you that you're a neo-Nazi, and are telling you that you are in fact against the freedom of speech. You know what's funny? The EDL, which he was a member of, this party or this group, it started because there were some, let's say, extremist Muslims or whatever you want to call them, burning poppies. Yeah, they were burning poppies. You know the story. You saw it on the newspaper. But wait a minute, if this guy believes in freedom of expression and freedom of speech, burning poppies is not against freedom of expression and freedom of speech. Why did you make a party on the basis of someone expressing their freedom of speech? Doesn't that seem a bit ironic and weird that you're coming here to discuss with us about freedom of speech? Burning poppies doesn't harm anyone from a liberal perspective, physically. So here what we're saying is, if you really believe in freedom of expression and speech, I doubt that there's a reason for you to have done that. I've been reading his tweets recently, and I see that he's been talking about the Rohingya. You know, it sickens me to the core, the scum of the earth, hooligan, ruffian, thug, hooligan, ruffian, thug, boy, coward, uneducated, wrote a book on Islam, and he doesn't know the first chapter of the Quran. He doesn't know what it is. And people are buying it. Probably these individuals are buying it, some of these individuals. That the scum of the earth, SOE, has decided now to call the Rohingya, he calls the so-called persecuted of the Rohingya. The so-called persecuted are actually terrorists. Can you believe the extent to which collective guilt, this fascist ideology, has encroached every nerve of his body and every atom of his being? This man is disgusting. How dare he say that? They are the most persecuted, according to the UN. So I say to you guys today, that we will take a stand as Muslims and the wider community who are willing to engage with us on this. We will take a stand against his hate, and we will continue in the real freedom of speech, which is a freedom of speech which allows us to elucidate, illuminate and educate, and that's what we're here in Speaker's Corner every week doing. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi.
Can I just add something on, brothers? Yes.
Yeah. All right, guys. So this was the day where Tommy Robinson was. He came here obviously with his thugs, and it was quite manic. It was quite hectic. It was quite chaotic, frankly. And there were skirmishes and there were problems, but we tried to keep that discipline within the Muslims. The police thanked us for that, you know, because they were finding it incredibly difficult. I mean, they could only help maintain law and order in the peripheries, but they couldn't do anything inside. And because we were in the thick of it, we were able to control that law and order. So in other words, what I think today was, considering the circumstances, quite successful in so much as we didn't get ill or be drawn into violence, and that's the main thing. So they came, a lot of them with offensive weapons, sticks, and these kinds of things, throwing things, trying to be as obnoxious and violent as possible. And this is their way of venting their grievances. But generally speaking, we're able to put some points across and make a few speeches and put our case forward to the wider British community, which hopefully able to make that case to the wider British community. I think there's a lot of sympathy now. A lot of people now from non-Muslim communities have a newfound sympathy with the Muslim community that I don't think they had before. So that was that. There was a lot of intimidation tactics, so there was the fine balance of trying to keep the peace and trying to stop the violence, but also trying to show that we were a group of people that were able to defend ourselves if that was required. And that kind of balance is always required, so there was some takbirat, as we call them, and these things. So having said that, guys, there's always a balance of how to deal with these situations. I feel like, you know, what was really useful for us was that we were able to employ tactics like, you know, the fact that we pray in lines, you know, we were able to get people in lines, and we reminded them that that's how they would pray anyways. And so getting a line moving forward and moving backwards when that was required was something which was useful. Finally, I would just like to say that this attempt to kind of, it's funny really, because it was an attempt, he came to try and promote free speech supposedly, but it was a way that it kind of prevented free speech. People wanted to get into conversations and discussions. Instead, there was violence and a lack of law and order and breaking the law. So all the things that these people saying Muslims do, these guys were doing themselves. I actually feel sorry for them, because I had conversations with a few of them, and a lot of them came and actually thanked me, frankly, for creating a balance and stopping the violence. A lot of the EDL members, I was very surprised. But having said that, I feel sorry for them, because when I was looking at them and speaking to them, I saw and heard the complaints of a people that really were dealt the wrong cards in life. Really, I've never been up close and personal with as many quote Tommy Robinson supporters unquote as today, and I saw the grievance in their eyes, and the grievance was, I reckon, centered around circumstances in their life. My message to them is that, look, scapegoating the Muslim community is not going to help you, make a better life for yourself and for your children. Really, it's about trying to actually stand up on your 2 feet, yeah, and making something of your life. Because a lot of these individuals were very uneducated, and all they knew how to do with their anger is vent on a deflective people, and they deflected it on a Muslim. So at the end of the day, alhamdulillah, I would say it was somewhat successful considering the circumstances, and we're able to remain and now, alhamdulillah, if you look at Speaker's Corner, it's kind of come back to its original form. There isn't that protest look now to Speaker's Corner. And I hope you guys have benefited as well. What we're going to do now is ask you to subscribe to our respective channels. SCDawah is going to go on SCDawah, and obviously my channel as well. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.